Hello there. I'd enjoy having a discussion with you this evening about something which has interested me for many years. That being the old civilizations of the earth, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Maya, the Egyptians. To me, I always had a fascination with these old civilizations because it struck me that they must have been far wiser than we are today. And by that I mean uh, the people in these old civilizations of the world, they were more in contact with the truth within themselves, with the source, their own source. They directed their attention inward, whereas we, from day one in our society, we're taught to uh, keep our attention centered on the external world, on the material world. We're taught that happiness can be found in possessions, which, as we all know, is not the truth. Now, happiness comes from within. And how many people do you know in this world who actually take the time to direct their attention inward in order to divine the truth within themselves? Obviously, not many. Now, watching the world collapsing as it is today, I wanted to make this video and create a differentiation which I don't see being made by anyone else. The Mayans predicted that the end of the world would come about on the 28th of October 2011. Now, the differentiation that I never see being made is, to most people, the earth and the world are the same thing, whereas in truth, they're actually not. If you look at it logically, the earth is a creation of nature, let's say, for argument's sake. Now, the world, on the other hand, is a creation of man. It's a man-made world. Now, the world being a man-made world, and man being terribly selfish as he is, obviously, in our world, what our world relies upon in order to continue, our world literally sucks the life out of the earth in order to sustain itself. The world requires the resources of the earth in order to feed itself, in order for it to continue. And as such, of course, over a long period of time, the world has actually, to a large extent, destroyed the earth, whether it be the Amazon rainforests or pollution in the waters or in the rivers and the seas, the depletion of the fish from the sea, etc., etc. Our world has gradually destroyed the earth. Now, as I say, the Mayans predicted the end of the world. They didn't predict the end of the earth. And when you hear people talking about the prediction of the Mayans, please make that differentiation. What I'm trying to do is to dispel any fear that may be within you associated with what people may say as the point comes when the Mayans predicted the world would end. If you look around you now, to me, it's quite easy to see that the world is actually coming to an end. I'm watching the breakdown of society all around the globe. People are rising up against their individual governments. The economic systems and the financial systems of the globe are breaking down. Everything seems to be coming down in unison now. The whole fabric of the system is beginning to unweave, to break down. And so it should. The world we live in is terribly unjust. There's no justice in this world. Certain people, certain groups are special. For there to be justice in any world, all the people within that world need to be subjected to the same rules and the same laws. You can't have certain people or certain groups who are made special and who are effectively above the law. Now, I've made many videos previously in which I've talked about putting some food aside for when things deteriorate, as they are now doing, about buying gold and silver in order to protect your wealth when the world's fiat monetary systems collapse. But to me, we're fast nearing the point when the time for action will have actually run out. Things are speeding up in quite a dramatic fashion. I'm not meaning to be a doom and gloom merchant, because I don't look at things that way at all. To me, whatever comes after this world has to be a damn sight better than this world. This world is a complete contradiction of everything that's right and true. We say that man is kind, man is this, man is that, yet behind the scenes, man is working in factories, ploughing out tanks in order to kill people, factories ploughing out millions of guns every year. We're so terribly ignorant, it's ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. Yet we think we're something special. We need to change the way things are quite dramatically, and if it means the whole system being destroyed and something else arising in its place, then so be it. Okay. I think I've said everything I desired to say. Just bear in mind, the world and the earth are not the same thing. Those that run the world, to me it was inevitable that their greed would bring about the end of this world anyway, because what they have is simply never enough. They always want a little bit more, and to me it stands to reason that by pushing the parameters of the system more and more in order to get just that little bit more, eventually they would go past the point of no return. So in effect, greed, or their greed, would bring about their own end, would bring about the end of the system that they'd created and they've been running for many years. I mean, the vast majority of people in this world are just slaves to the system. You work from birth until death, and the quality of life for most people is not good at all. Hence why we have such high suicide rates, etc., etc. But that's another subject. So just bear in mind then, as I say, the earth and the world, two completely different things. I'm sure we'll see a bit later in the year whether the Mayans were correct in their assessment of things. I'm sure that they came across their conclusion through looking deep within themselves. There's an evolution of consciousness taking place on planet Earth, and by actually looking deep within themselves, they were able to perceive the process of the evolution of consciousness on Earth, and how in 2011 the ignorance within the world that's created, the selfishness and ignorance within the world that's created the terrible mess we now live in, how it would bring about a dramatic crash. Well, they call it Armageddon, don't they? But a new beginning. We're heading for a new beginning, let's say. Okay, well, thank you for your time. I hope I've not rabbited on for too long. If you've got anything to say, of course I'd be interested to hear whatever that may be. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.